Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the simple and AI-powered rewards and recognition platform for employee engagement.
Diversity hiring is the first step towards building a more inclusive and diverse workplace culture. Anyone not living under a rock knows the importance of diversity and inclusion in every aspect of our lives. The same extends to our workplaces too. To simplify define diversity hiring is when companies design a hiring process that provides an equal opportunity for candidates of diverse sexual orientation, gender, race, and other minority groups to take part in the interview process and get recruited. Overall, diversity hiring improves company culture. Hello listeners, welcome back to Vantage Influencers Podcast. I am your host, Gautam. I guess you already know the topic of discussion today from the introduction. Yes, it is diversity hiring improves company culture. And to give us more enlightening insights on this topic, we have a very special guest with us. He is Mr. Ashish Banka. Ashish was last employed as HR director with Delhivery for their first and second mile segment. He is a passionate HR leader with 14 years of experience in the HR domain, specializing in talent acquisition, performance management, and employee engagement. He led teams of 100 HR folks and managed BY of 20K HC. Ashish is the founder and currently the national president for HR SAMPARK, a non-profit trust having focuses on HR Conclaves, knowledge sharing, industry academia events, and CSR actions. Ashish has a remarkable chapter presence in Kolkata, Mumbai, and NCR. Hello, Ashish. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gautam, for the invitation. Greetings to all my viewers who are there on this podcast and is listening to this small rendition of my thoughts.
We are truly delighted to have you with us today, and our listeners would be truly enlightened by listening to your thoughts on the topic that we are going to discuss today. But before we could move to the topic of discussion, would you please brief us about yourself? Like in very short, something that I might have missed mentioning about you.
Thank you giving me this opportunity. Namaste to all the viewers. I'm glad that we are connecting over this platform. I happened to be a core HR professional by design. I love interacting with people. I come from a very low economical background, and achieving a somewhat success gives me a feeling that we need to follow two R's in our lives very closely. One is respect and one is recognize. For me, I treat the life very simple. I don't complicate it, and I look at from an observation that each person is for us a role model to learn. It is up to us. How do we look at our lives? How do we simplify it and live with a peace and a satisfaction in all of us? So this is something which is not mentioned by Gautam in my professional introduction, but as a person, I believe that continuous learning is very important for all of us.
Thank you, Ashish. And I think nobody else than you could have described this about yourself because, of course, we do not know each other personally, but what you told about yourself is about respect is, I think, what truly, defines our topic of discussion today as well, which is about diversity hiring. And considering you're concretely related with HR, so what is diversity hiring in your knowledge?
In my opinion, diversity is all about acceptance. Acceptance, something which is diverse. When we get anybody at a workplace, be it from any caste, creed, religion, sexual preference, are we giving him, her, opportunity to thrive and be comfortable? Diversity hiring is having an inclusive mindset to have people from all across zones, all across genres, to come and thrive at a common workplace and they feel comfortable. That is the diversity hiring.
Wow, thanks. Thank you so much, Ashish, for that amazing response. But, when it comes to HR's hiring, they always think about making a good workplace culture or a company culture. So, what is the key to nurturing a good workplace culture, and how does diversity hiring comes into play in this context?
I'll extend and elaborate this question, in terms of my thoughts and experience to our viewers. Let us understand step by step what is the culture, first of all. The question says good workplace culture, and that differs from people to people.
Sure.
All of us, when we go to a workplace, we generally thrive on 5 elements, which is individual requirement and which keeps changing at every parameter, every zone. These are your salary, authority, your designation, company growth, company culture, and your authority, and your in terms of how much are you learning under a good boss. All of us makes decision of our employment based on these parameters, and the priority keeps changing for everybody. We saw that one of the parameters is culture. So everybody says what is culture, and that definition differs from people to people. You walk into an office and you feel comfortable, you are greeted well, you are not put a pressure, there is a work-life balance, you are paid salary on time, and you are appreciated for your performance, you are rewarded, there is a annual appraisal increment cycle, and there is a learning opportunity. We say it is a good culture.
Right.
At that good culture, when we get people from diversity, it gets disrupted. Most of the organizations which I have come across, I have worked, spoken to all of them, they feel scared with that diversity because they feel we have thrived in a particular way, and if we bring a change into that way, we will get disrupted. Diversity brings disruption. First of all, the viewers need to understand it is not immediately will accept. When we say diversity, the diversity people who are diversity. Normal people with 2 eyes, legs, ears intact, head on their brain, shoulders, everything is not diversity. Diversity is which is something which is not common, which is special. What are the parameters of diversity? There are different parameters. Acid attack survivors, especially abled, LGBTQ, trauma, people, women who have been molested, they all deserve a chance, and the third gender as well. They all deserve a chance equally associated with us and thrive in that opportunity environment. But we as normal people go back and have a mindset, say, no, you are not like one of us. We will not give you that opportunity. We will try to create obstacles in your journey. That's what is hindrance to diversity. So these people, when they come into our system and they want to be a part of it, and we don't allow them, that's hindrance. The good company work culture is where we accept them. The acceptance happens from top to bottom. It gets inculcated into everybody's mind. And then when we all thrive together at a workplace, that is called good workplace culture. The next question is, how does diversity comes, into play into this context? Is because what does diversity do here? One, it makes our organization a very inclusive. It makes us a model employer approach that we have a opportunity for everybody to thrive at one workplace. We are not a stereotyped organization. Second, we learn to be tolerant. We learn to be patient. We learn to respect everybody. Our orthodox mindset, which everybody comes to, and you are not responsible for that. You are responsible because which background have you come from? What is your upbringing? All these makes our mindset. But when we come to a workplace, we are assumed to have a people with similar mindset. We are open for change, adaptability. And if when you come back and you don't embrace this change, then the onus and the responsibility comes on you and you are responsible. So technically, we all go back and, people sometimes say your upbringing is bad and you are not able to adapt. No, I don't agree to that. It is only because you are not open to change and you are responsible, not your upbringing. So diversity gives us an opportunity to be global, to have a proper mindset. So this is a culmination where we are improving the culture of the organization for openness and acceptance for every kind of people through different models and different peoples of hiring. So to answer your question, Gautam, in this way.
I think that was brilliantly answered, Ashish, because, in a lot of instances, what we see is when people say that we are equal employers, but they don't see the change. I think it's also because of the privilege that people come from, like from different backgrounds. There are people with a lot of privileges who do not wish to accept the change. But I think with a lot of sensitization programs and such programs, I think we can develop that curiosity in people's mind. And this is where, company culture also comes into play. I know both the questions might sound similar, but I believe they're different because workplace culture and company culture are two different terms. So, when it comes to diversity hiring, in what ways does it help improve company culture?
Great. There are a number of ways. I'll build upon from where I left and give you a lot of opportunities for the viewers to understand how we can do that.
Yes.
First of all, we need to have an open mindset. How do we have an open mindset? We have to, and in most of the organizations, there is a target of 10% of gender diversity, where we go back and build, hire a lot of women into that workplace. Some people keep it at 20%. That is also a global agenda. But ideally, that is only one piece of diversity. That is not diversity as a whole. So how do we build? The question is diversity, not gender diversity, viewers. So I will try all to give you some examples. How do we build diversity?
Sure, I think that will be great.
First of all, we need, so I have come across, I work with Tata, Reliance, Qatar Airways. I have come across a lot of, folks from different organizations, Accenture, and your Wipro, and I will give a culmination of all the best practices which everybody does. At your suitability, you can pick and choose whatever you want to do. So first one, I was with Jio, and in Calcutta, we have created one, there was the Jio Center where we did a Angel JC. So what was Angel JC? The entire manning of that facility was done by women. What it helped to create a gender diversity balance. It also helped us to create an example that, this down below, not able to recall the company's name, they also are manned by entire women. So this is one way where you go back and take a call. No, we'll hire all women and we'll run by them. Initially, things are, I don't see that blog that you cannot do that. It will happen. So that is one. Second, you go back and you build up a Pride March. In the Pride Month, the last month was Pride Month. How many of us are organizations to celebrate Pride Month? It is not necessary that we have, there are a lot of people who are discreet in the LGBTQ community.
True.
As an organization, we embrace and we celebrate Pride Month, even though people are discreet and they don't want to do, they don't have an openness about their liking.
Orientation, yes.
So that is second. Third, what we do, we need to partner with a lot of institutions who comes and sensitizes our employees that, how you need to behave with them. That is very important because even if you do not have, first of all, you need to create awareness. And that is important regardless whether you want to deploy or you don't want to deploy diversity at your workplace. First, you have to create an open, you bring diversity and you tell them now you have to learn. It cannot happen. You learn and then you bring them because they are highly sensitive people. You cannot ask them in the process of making your employees aware, you cannot hurt them through the actions of other employees. Fourth, are you open? Fourth example, you bring specially abled. Are you giving them a proper workstation? Are you keeping their toilets very near to their place? Are they looked upon as one of the partners? So the acceptability is very important. So that's how you do it. You do it through a pilot project. You pick up a unit, you do a pilot project, and then you scale up after you do a campaign against that we have done as an organization. And this is the benchmark practices. Fifth, you go back and you bring the family members of those employees at the workplace and ask them to talk about it. Give them the respect, give them the recognition that they are there. And this is how is another way how you bring the, mindset change. In terms of hiring, how does it helps the company work culture? These are the different ways which you can use. All this culture is nothing. It is just that when you walk into office, do you feel comfortable? That is the only culture. Do you feel respected? Do you feel recognized? Do you have your, self-respect intact? I think this is only work culture. And these are the ways where diversity can come up and open you all up. You cannot be in the cocoon and live through your life and say, I have done this is only right. Embrace change is what company culture is all about.
Wow, thank you so much, Ashish. I think, our listeners and I myself, I'm truly enchanted with, your talk today because, your experience completely speaks as to, what you deliver. And I think your responses are a reality check for a lot of leaders as to what they can do and how they can do to improve their company culture and the diversity and inclusion in their offices. So, considering that fact, so what are the best ways? You have been in the HR industry for so long, and I think you'll be the best person to answer this. Like, what are the best ways to hire diversely?
See, in terms of there are nowadays, since most of the organizations have got sensitized, there are a lot of ways which are possible. So diversity for my viewers, again, I am not focusing on gender diversity. It's a diversity which I am referring. There are a lot of specially abled, institutions where you can go back and, tie up with them, you interview and you find the best talent available. You can also partner with LGBT communities. Pride Circle is one of them, which I have known.
Oh, yes.
They do a lot of, support to the organizations. You can go back and do a job mela where you invite all the diversity from different arenas after doing marketing and, invite them.
Mm-hmm.
When you invite all of them, you are giving them the platform that they all are wanted in the society. Otherwise, they will stay where they are and they will wait for their opportunity to come as in isolation, to be picked up and then start their career. You give all-round opportunity to everybody. That is the third way. Fourth, you can tie up with employment exchanges. There are special wings in government who can do that. Also, you can go back and, do a referral program in your organization that you give these opportunities, to these people and you get rewarded if he stays in 6 months in the organization. Also, you go back and do the last, which I feel the hiring diversity is these people are very loyal and very, very dedicated. If you give them an opportunity, they will not let you down. So build up a loyalty program for them in the organization for them to stay, because the opportunity which you give as an employer, others are not giving. So these people are the best ploy for an HR fraternity at various roles. I'm not saying all roles, but at various roles where the attrition levels can be minimized. So other people, other inverted commas, normal people might go and find jobs and ask for money. The inclusivity with your organization will give them, others will not be able to match them. So they will not go out and change jobs. So you are safe hands, you have the loyalty fixed. So give more employment to them. The last thing is very hypothetical. Create a reservation system for them in the organization. Because if you give this as an opportunity, my experience to the operations is they will hire 1 people against 100 and say, we have done our job. So I think considerable count should be given to the kind of people which we hire. Some people might counter that, again, why do we are creating them separate? They are one of the organizations or they are one of the people in the world. Why we are creating a separate channel for them? The reason for this, to answer to all the folks, is because they have been deprived. When you have been deprived for such a long time, you need a dedicated reservation to bring them to a level where they should have been. If they would have been at 30 to 40% of the workforce, and you employers can deploy, say, 10% of them, we are currently deploying, say, 1%. If we do not do a reservation, how do we bring them to that level of 10%? If we give that as a choice to most of the people. So this is my last answer. How can, the best ways to hire diversity?
Thank you so much, Ashish. And I think that was brilliantly answered. But in a true sense, do you feel promoting diversity and inclusion right from the hiring stage helps enhance employee engagement?
Employee engagement and, acceptance is very different. I don't agree, it is directly correlated. When you interview people, do you interview a different time slot for normal people and then specially abled people? That is the first thought process while we do promoting diversity and inclusion right at the start of hiring stage. How are you treating them? Are you treating them with a sympathetic view, or you are treating them, at a view that you are giving them opportunity and the best one will get the job? So I think that is promoting diversity at the right from the hiring stage. I don't see that hiring stage leads to diversity. This is hiring. Diversity and inclusion is a separate, separate. Most of the organizations have the department separate.
Yes.
They do the sensitization completely on a channel wise, and they keep, the employees evolved. The question is the new employees who are coming into the system, they are not evolved. So what is for them? You treat them equally. The people who are there at the interview, keep a question what they think about diversity and inclusion. So that is the second way where you can test them that how open are they and hire them based on their openness. I'm not saying you compromise on their talent, but hire them for their thought process and behavior as well. Employee engagement is a very individual, topic, how you are engaged to an employer. Not necessarily get impacted by D&I. Some people, you can have a question of diversity inclusion in employee engagement surveys where employee can give their feedback how company is open to that, but not necessarily to an individual. It is there. Yes, from hiring, the new employees or the new candidate needs to be judged on their thought process.
Sure. Thanks, Ashish. And, we are now slowly approaching towards the end of this conversation, and, we do not have much time left. So I will just quickly ask you to just give a conclusion as to what you have said today and about the topic. Like, how will you like to conclude your thoughts on this topic for today?
Thanks, Gautam. I enjoyed this discussion, sharing my thoughts, whatever I have experienced and implemented. I'm not a scholar, but done this, work on this subject for quite a bit, so I could share that. My only request, to sum it up is to HR people are, don't take it as a topic of initiative. If you take it as an opportunity of initiative as an alternative, then it is very difficult to get it embedded. I think we should all join hands together, and it should flow from promoters or CEOs or the board to down below, that we as a company embrace everybody. When we inculcate this thought, then all things which I said, initiatives, the opportunities, the options will all follow one by one, because there are no rocket science. Everybody can figure out it.
Sure.
But the first thought of being accepting this is very important. And I think HR people will play a great role into this to bring the organization or steer the organization into this thought. So I think everybody can do it. As I said, it's just that we need to embrace it and ensure that the company is embracing it as well.
Thank you so much, Ashish. It was great having you with us today. And in the end, how can our listeners reach out to you if they have to contact you for any reason that may be?
Thank you, Gautam. I enjoyed this discussion. Listeners, I am all available in social media. I'm a social media enthusiast. Please reach me out to Ashish Banka in LinkedIn. I give a lot of weightage to the people who read me out, and specifically share my views and thoughts and real life incidents in there. So happy to, to be on this professional platform and, share my thoughts and take this connection to relationship journey forward with all of you.
Thank you, Ashish. It was a great conversation with you. And I did not want to stop you because you were so enlightening. But, time does not permit us to keep going on. And which is why I have to say you goodbye for today. And it was a great conversation. I hope that we can get this opportunity to speak to you again sometime sooner. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ashish.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I wish all the viewers safe and a happy mind and a week ahead.
Thank you. Happy weekend to you too. And listeners, please keep listening to Vantage Influencers podcast, and we'll be back with more such enlightening topics and conversations in our future episodes. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Vantage HR Influencers podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.